Hello and welcome to this slideshow, I guess, really, of some of my images. This is Simon Palmer, and I have a company called Into the Lens, where I take photographs of horses, amongst other animals. And I've been given the opportunity to be able to talk to you about some of my pictures, maybe tell you a few stories. It's interesting because sometimes when I'm on tour with Kelly and Monty, I'll get people ask me about the pictures. They'll see some of the pictures on the either the slideshow that's running or on the pictures on the boards behind it, and they'll sort of say that's their favourite picture. And when I recount the stories, they become all that more poignant, I suppose. Sometimes some of the images really do strike home with people, and then they get the opportunity and they talk to me about their horses, and they'll show me their pictures on their phones, and there's fantastic pictures of their own horses, and they're incredibly proud of them, and they have every right to be. Not just the pictures, but obviously the horses, I mean. So as the slideshow goes along, you're going to hear me talking a little bit about some of the images. I might pick on a few as they come up, and then ramble on for a few minutes and tell you a little bit about the picture. And I really think I have a great opportunity because I've done a lot of the IH courses, a lot of the Intelligent Horsemanship Association courses, and I think that's given me a lot of knowledge on horse behaviour and horse communication. I try and take that and map it on to the work that I do when I take photographs of horses, so that it gives me the ability to almost focus on the communication and get the image that really personifies what that horse is either trying to say or what it's thinking, or how it's communicating with its owner or with other horses around him. I get the best of both worlds. I get to play with horses and I get to photograph horses, and it's a wonderful way to make a living. The images you're seeing now, this particular set, were taken up at a friend's place, and they're the authors of a book called Whispering Back, and there's a particular horse in Whispering Back called Misty, and there'll be an image I'll probably shout when it comes up on screen. Misty does something called a Misty hug, and you have to behave and interact with Misty in a very, very, there we go, a very, very certain way, and then Misty will come and give you a hug, and it's a marvellous way of communicating. And I was very honoured to be able to take that picture. There's also some others, and you'll see a lovely one in this series coming up. I was asked to take a load of photographs of some horses, these beautiful white horses you can see here, and when I finished taking photographs of the horses, we let one of them out. Here we are, Energy I call it, and as she went out into the field, she flexed her muscles and raced out, and that's where I got that fantastic energetic horse photograph called Energy. Sadly, there's a story behind that, and it's one that still chokes me up this day, because we took the photographs of the horses, and then the owners gave me a call a little while later and said that they'd come down to the field and found that she died of colic overnight. And whenever someone asks me about that picture, I always remind them, go take your camera out with your horses and take photographs. Take as many photographs as you can. So if you never even have me out there, take photographs. This is Pete reading Perfect Partners. It's a staged shot. It wasn't by accident that we got that. I wanted a picture of a horse reading a book because Kelly and Monty always talk about on tour how the horses have read their books. Well, I've now got photographic evidence of a little Appaloosa reading Perfect Partners. And that was quite an easy shot to get because Pete, my horse, curious little chap, he'd do things, and we played around with the book on the floor, and he came over and had a look at it, and as a friend of mine flicked the pages, he stuck his nose in it, and I took the photograph. There we go. I've dispelled the myth of how we got that photograph. Curiosity got that photograph, and Curiosity's name was Pete. When I'm taking photographs, spend a lot of the time familiarising myself with the environment and the horses. When I take shots, I don't just go out there, take a load of shots and then go away. I look at the horses, I get to know the horses a little bit. The owners tell me a lot about the horses, so I get to know their little curious foibles, their little strangenesses that they have, and that's part of their character. And if I can catch that in the images, then I've done a good job, and I'm very proud of it. There's Pete again, curious as always, looking around the corner of a shed. My favourites, I have to say, are the heavy horses. I find the heavy horses just to be the most marvellous of them all. All horses are wonderful, please don't get me wrong, but the heavy horses are truly majestic. When we think about where horses have come from and the heritage that they bring, they really were a tool of trade a long time ago, and we used them to plough the fields and do all sorts of things like that, and the heavy horses remind us of their heritage. And now they're much more our own part of the family. A lot of the time people have horses and they're part of their own family, they're an extension of the human family, and when you take photographs of them, it's really almost a family portrait sometimes.